Good morning, everyone. We are the group 5. Our topic for today is all about the individual differences of motor skills. But before we proceed to our discussions, our objective is at the end of the lesson, the student should be able to know what the individual differences, what is motor abilities, know the differences between motor abilities and motor skills. Individual differences in motor skills. Individuals differ significantly in their capacity to perform and to learn motor skills. Some people seem good at almost every new motor skills they attempt. Others experience difficulty when first attempting new physical skills. Most people appear average at the majority of skills. Still, others are good at one or a few skills but frustratingly unskilled at others. At this point, we have a different individual skills. Mailang mga tao na mukhang mahusay sa bagong motor skills na kanilang sinubukan at ang iba naman ay mahusay lamang sa isa or ilang mga skills ngunit hindi sanay sa ibang skills. Motor skills are critical to human functioning because the impact on individual ability to move independently and interact with people and things in environment. And they contribute to the development of language, play, academic, and adaptive behavior. Why do people differ so widely in their capacity to perform motor skills? The answer to this question, at least in large part, entails a study of the underlying trait responsible for skilled motor performance. In the study of motor skills, the trait most essential to learning and performance are called motor abilities. Everyone is born with the capacity to learn. However, it varies between individuals. Some have greater learning capacity while some do not. Researches have been done to show the learning capacity interplay between the internal and external forces and hence, everyone may have difference in their learning capacity.
Motor abilities. Most people are already familiar with a few motor abilities, such as reaction time, manual dexterity, depth perception, and balance, for example. So motor abilities are defined as genetically determined traits that are stable and enduring and that underlie or support the performance of motor skills. So when we say motor abilities, it is the genetically determined trait or characteristic of an individual, and also it is the basic equipment that people are born with. So there are 4 features of this definition of motor abilities that are important to note. So first, we have motor abilities are genetically determined. Second, we have motor abilities are stable and enduring. Third, motor abilities underlie or support the performance of motor skills. And fourth, we have motor abilities are transsituational. First, motor abilities are genetically determined. So, like hair color, sex, or height, motor abilities are not developed or acquired after birth, but all individuals or a person is born with all of the motor abilities. So everyone is born with the same motor abilities and people do not have different ones or different number of ability. So second, motor abilities are stable and enduring. So motor abilities do not change over a period of a person's lifetime and it cannot be improved with practice. So they generally remain unchanged but can be developed through experience and maturation. For example, everyone is born with a certain level of strength. Some are naturally stronger than others, but strength can be developed through experience and as you get older. Third, motor abilities underlie or support the performance of motor skills. So, motor abilities are considered as the building blocks of motor skills. It is important to know or to distinguish the difference between the skills and abilities. So, when we say skills, it is not genetically determined. They are learned over time and you are not born with skills. While abilities or motor abilities are the basic equipment that people are born with and from which they draw in order to learn and to perform skills. Fourth, motor abilities are transsituational. A given motor ability may be manifested in a wide variety of skill situations. Any given motor ability may be an essential building block for a large number and variety of different skills. Motor abilities are not specific to any particular class or type of motor skill, but the same motor ability may cross many classifications lines in contributing to a large variety of actions. So conversely, a motor ability may also play little or no role in the performance of other motor skills.
Next one is different between motor's abilities and motor skills. So, motor's abilities, stable cannot be changed. So, hindi maaaring baguhin ang matatag na motor's abilities. Inherited, genetically determined. Relativity view is 40 to 50. Support the performance of skills. So, kailangan natin suportahan ang pagganap ng kakayahan. And not directly observable or manifested as a behavior. Hindi direktang napapansin o ipinakikita bilang pag-uugali. And the last is do not act direct of environment. Huwag agad kumilos ng direkta sa kapaligiran. Next one is motor skills. So, changeable can be improved with practice. So, para ma-improve ito ang skills, we need to practice. Acquired through practice or experience. So, like sa ako ang giingon, we need to practice and dapat naatay mga experience. People, many 1,000, people process relatively few of the many skills available. Ang mga tao ay natataglay na kakaunti sa maraming kakayahan na magagamit. Depends of differing subset of abilities. Depende sa kakaibang subset ng kakayahan. Observable and manifested as a behavior. Nakikita or ipinakikita bilang pag-uugali. And the last one is act directly in environment.
Motor abilities as limiting factors for skills. The process of building up motor skills by drawing on the resources of one's underlying motor abilities. Not all motor abilities are important or at least equally important for all skills. Every skill is dependent upon a combination of some collection of specific motor abilities. So the point here is that motor abilities are the requirements for performing skills as well as the determinants for how well one can perform and learn particular skills. But not all motor abilities are the important or as equally important. So all skills probably depend on no more than a few motor abilities for their performance, with 3 to 5 motor abilities most likely accounting for most of the variance of the skills observed between individual performance. The debate over the relative effect of heredity and environment in explaining human behavior is a long and still contentious one. So, ano nga ba ang pagkakaiba ng dalawang ito? Heredity sets the upper limit of what an individual can attain. Sa makatuwid, pwedeng maisalin ito sa mga susunod na henerasyon, while environment affect the degree to which the potentialities can be realized. Our argument here is not that environmental factors establish the limits within which environmental factors are free to operate, so that human behavior isn't only determined by genetics. The greatest factor that influence human personalities are genetic inheritance and environmental factors. Researchers can estimate the proportion of variance in a trait attributable to genetic variation versus the proportion that is due to shared environment or unshared environment. Although little empirical research has addressed this contention directly, mounting evidence from twin studies has offered strong support for the primary role played by genetics in establishing upper limit on an individual's potential in gaining motor skills. So, according to Boyle and Ackerman 2004, most theories that about 40 to 50 motor abilities underlie all human motor skills behavior, though not all have been identified and there remains debate about the exact number. In fact, some theories, with Franklin Henry being the most prominent, have even proposed the existence of thousands of motor abilities. This latter number seems unlikely for several theoretical reasons. However, and the more conservative estimate of 40 to 50 seems such more likely and is accepted by broad consensus today. So, 40 to 50 motor abilities believed to exist, but not all have been identified according to Boyle and Ackerman 2004. The most complete system for identifying and classifying motor abilities is one developed in the mid-1906 by ergonomics engineer Edwin Fleischmann. Fleischmann's taxonomy of motor abilities is based on a tremendous amount of research and resulted in the identification of 21 separate motor abilities. In his classification system, Fleischmann identified two broad categories of motor abilities. These categories are perceptual motor and physical proficiency abilities. Perceptual motor abilities means comprised of motor abilities for which the central nervous system is the primary determinant of the ability's relative strength. Perceptual motor abilities includes motor abilities such as reaction time, manual dexterity, multi-limb coordination, control precision, response orientation, rate control, finger dexterity, and arm-hand steadiness. On the other hand, physical proficiency abilities is depends upon, in addition to neurological factors such underlying physiological factors as muscle composition, the mechanical properties of muscle based on length and origin and insertion locations, the efficiency of sensory receptors associated with movement and other physiological factors such as lung volume and body somatotype. Physical proficiency abilities include static strength, extent flexibility, and stamina. On the other hand, require some degree of use and training to be fully realized.
Multi-limb coordination, ability to coordinate the movement of a number of limbs simultaneously. A high level of this ability is probably important when serving a tennis ball or serving the piano. The ability to coordinate two or more limbs For example, two arm, two legs, or one leg and one arm, while sitting, standing, or laying down. Control precision, ability to make highly controlled movement adjustments, particularly when large muscle groups are involved. An example is operating a bulldozer or other type of earth-moving equipment that requires careful positioning of the arms and feet. Control precision can be described as an ability that allows one to make a rapid movement to precisely control machine or vehicle. The concept is highly applied in the manufacturing sectors, especially when making various machinery. Response orientation, ability to make quick choice among numerous alternative actions, often measured as choice reaction time. An example is the task of Galoy in hockey where the type of shoot is goal is often uncertain. Response orientation ability is a substructure or coordination that allows modification of the position of the movement of the body, space, and time in releasing to a certain field of action, choosing rapidly between alternative movement patterns. Rate control ability to produce continuous anticipatory movement adjustment in response to change in a speed of a continuously moving target or object. Example include the task of high-speed auto racing and whitewater canoeing. The ability to change speed and direction of response with precise timing as in following a continuously moving target. Manual dexterity ability to manipulate relatively large objects with the hands and arms. An example is package handling at the post office. The ability to make coordinate hand and finger movement to grasp and manipulate objects. Manual dexterity includes muscular, skeletal, and neurological functions to produce small, precise movements. Finger dexterity ability to manipulate small objects. Example include threading needle and eating spaghetti with a fork and spoon. Finger dexterity evaluates the capability of the muscles in the hands as well as person's fine motor skills for the purpose of performing tasks that involve placing, turning, and picking up the object. Explosive strength ability to expend a maximum of energy is one explosive act. Advantages in activity requiring a person to project his or her body or some object as high as far as possible. Also important for mobilizing force against the ground. Example of tasks requiring high levels of explosive strength includes the shot put, javelin, long jump, high jump, 100-meter dash, and track and field. The speed at which you can use your strength, it involves heavy loading in shorter high-speed movement for a few repetitions with long rest period between. Static strength ability to exert force against a relatively heavy weight of some very immovable object. Tasks requiring high levels of static strength include near maximum leg and arm press in weightlifting as well as moving a piano. Static strength is the ability to hold a pose without movement. This kind of exercise can be benefit climbers by specially targeting either your upper and lower body strength. Static strength, also known as the metric exercise, is the ability to hold a pose without movement. Dynamic strength, ability to repeatedly or continuously move or support the weight of the body. Examples include climbing a rope and performing on the steel rings in gymnastics. The ability to exert muscle force repeatedly or continuously over time. This involves muscular endurance and resistance to muscle fatigue. Trunk strength, dynamic strength that is particularly to the trunk and abdominal muscles, thus requiring high levels of trunk strength, includes leg lifts and performing on the pommel horse in gymnastics. The ability to use your abdominal and lower back muscles to support part of the body repeatedly or continuously over time without giving out or fatiguing. Extend flexibility. Ability to extend and stretch the body as far as possible in various directions. An example of a task requiring high levels of extend flexibility is yoga. 5 simple ways to increase your flexibility. Performing dynamic rather than static stretching prior to activity. 2. Make sure you are stretched the muscle safety. Number 3. Performing static strength after activity. Number 4. Stretch frequently. And number 5. Target your stretch to the areas that need it. Thank you.
The next one is motor ability identified by Kyle and Codekius. Motor timing, ability to perform tasks in which accurately timed movement are essential. Example, include most open sports skills as well as driving an automobile in traffic, stepping on a moving escalator, and playing drums in band. So, na-example dira is stepping on a moving escalator. So, 'di ba sa 'di ba hagdan ang escalator. So, dapat pagsulod nato natay timing o sa paggawas pud nato dapat natay timing. Kay kasagaran naay na disgrasya tungod wala sila timing. Kay gapatakaran silang sulod sa escalator, maong naipit ilang tiil kay wala pa na ano ang katong hagdan, nagsulod na sila. So dapat kabaluta sa timing sa pagsulod or sa pagawas. And the second is playing drums in a band. So na ako'y classmate before during sa amo ang band kanang wala ko siya gay practice then tung final na wala na timing amo ang performance because wala man siya ga practice mao to nagkayagaw ang amo ang performance tungod ang pagplay sa drums is wala siya timing. Dapat mag-practice siya para ang among performance is nice siya, and ang niya sa drums is night timing. Next one is perceptual timing, ability to perform tasks in which accurate judgment about the time, course of perceptual event are required. So here are the example. Include making judgmental about the timing of which musical score by a ballet dance or a vocalist, timing a partner movement in pair dancing. So, ang example dira is musical score. Halimbawa, nagduwit mi ni Rhea. So, dapat naami timing, dapat sabay mi kung asa mi magsulod. Dapat wala isa sa amo ang maguna-una, dapat najud mi timing kung asa mi magsunod, kung unsa na pud ang sunod nga kanta ko namo, and like sa ballet dance, dapat timing na siya, timing ang pagsulod sa music, and dapat sabay-sabay ang pag-up, pag-down sa kamot kung unsa man ang action dira. So like kung sa sport, di ba na example dira is ball tennis. So dapat timing ang paghapak sa bola, di ba, ang sa tennis, di ba? Dapat timing ang pag ano sa bola. And kung sa volleyball po, kung mag-receive ka, dapat timing, dapat dili pud kayo ano ang force mo sa pag-receive sa bola kay basig out siya, basig under net, and etc. One is movement rate. Similar to freshman speed of limb movement, disabilities apply more to situation which is series of movement must be made as a maximum speed. Example, include typing or keyboard. So, movement rate is talk about series of movement. Or pagkasunod-sunod sa galaw. So, meron tayong example which is the physical body movement. So, meron tayong tinatawag na flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, supination, and the last is pronation. So, dapat kung ano yung number 1, yun yung unang mong gagawin. So, yung number 1 is flexion. So, dapat yung galaw natin is sa pasunod-sunod kasi maximum lang siya. So, another example is keyboarding. So, sa typing natin, for example, dira kay mga IT, masa na nila yung mga keyboard kung asa ang mga letter na dili na nila need magtanaw pa sa keyboard para tanaw nila kung asa ang letter A, asa ang letter B, kay know na nila ang mga letter, maskin dili na sila magtanaw sa keyboard, mag-type na lang sila kay master naman nila ang keyboarding. So, forcing controlling. Ability to perform tasks in which force of varying degree are needed to achieve the desired outcome. Example, include changing mood or emphasize when playing an instrument such as the violin, and performing sports tasks such as billiard, figure skating, and floor exercise in gymnastics. So, ang example dira is violin. Dapat mashi control. Dapat kanang dili kay siya sakit sa dalunggan, dapat controlling siya. And the second is playing billiard. So, sa pag-play ng billiard, dapat na-put siya force. And dapat controlling siya sa pagtira niya mo sa bola, dapat dili kay siya kusog, dapat control siya para ang bola masulod sa katong gamay gud na bilog, dapat masulod siya dira. Dapat we need to control ang ato ang force sa pagtira sa bola.